All right, hey GoPachun players, I'm going to give you today a very simple nutrition system to help you guys understand how you can track your own nutrition no matter where you are in the world as you travel around competing as hard as you can at every single tournament. Okay, and this is also something that we want to follow from day to day as we're going about our daily training. The better you can understand your nutrition and track it, keep track of it, and kind of keep this ongoing thing in your mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be written down every time. You don't necessarily always have to follow the nutrition tracking on Team Builder, but we do want to understand this simple system, okay? So the system just uses your hand to understand the right portions of each type of food. So there's what's called macronutrients, which is protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Okay, protein they are the building blocks of life. Every single structure in your body is made up of proteins, including your hormones, digestive enzymes, and all of your body structures. Everything that helps you thrive and perform is often built on protein. Carbohydrates and fats are basically energy. Okay, we need both because fats are really important for our function, our hormones and everything, and carbohydrates are really important for energy, especially for badminton where you have to be very explosive many times throughout an entire match or throughout an entire training session, whatever it is. Okay, so we need that energy. And then there's micronutrients. So the macronutrients, the protein, carbohydrates, and fats are like the big things that we need. We have to have those. The micronutrients are vitamins and minerals that we also need. Okay, so we get most of those from a mix of foods, but we get really dense amount of micronutrients from vegetables and fruits. Okay, so to consider this portion system with our hand, we're going to think of it every single portion of macronutrients, and then the micronutrients will be their own portion themselves. Okay, so a portion of protein is the size of your palm. Okay, so it's the size and the thickness. Okay, so this doesn't mean you have to actually hold protein whenever you're putting it on your plate when you're having some food, but holding your palm next to it, so not including your fingers but just your palm. Holding that next to your food helps you understand if you got enough of a portion. If let's say you're having a bone in, so the bone is in like a meat, a high protein food, you would estimate how much meat is there, not including the bone. Okay, so some other examples of protein, those non-veg items of any type of protein, but you want to have the leanest sources of protein as often as you can. So you're not having the super fatty meats, okay, the super chewy and fatty meats. And so along with that, really dense yogurt or Greek yogurt is another form of protein. Eggs. The thing with eggs is the whole egg is more complete protein for you, okay? If you're trying to reduce or if you feel too heavy with having the yolk or the yellow in there, then you can have some egg whites. But I encourage you to have more whole eggs if you can. That's going to get you some good healthy fats and some omega-3s, which help you perform better and feel better. Okay, so some vegetarian sources of protein are the primary thing is going to be beans and lentils. Lentils are your pulses, dal, things like that. Okay, and when you're having those, consider also that beans and dal are also very dense in carbohydrates. Okay, so you get both protein and carbohydrates, and so if you're having that for your protein in a meal, then you'll want to have lesser carbohydrates of other carb sources, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so those are kind of your primary sources. You would want to have the palm portion. For guys, you want to generally aim for around 2 portions per meal, or say between 5 and 6 throughout the day. If you're trying to build a little more, you might want to make that 7 per day. Okay, for girls, you need 3 to 4 per day as kind of a minimum that you want to aim for. And so if you're thinking of eggs, to get a portion, 2 whole eggs would be 1 portion, or it could be 1 whole egg and 2 egg whites, something like that. Or 4 egg whites would be 1 full portion of protein to get you enough. Okay, as far as the meats, that's going to be, just the size of your palm, okay? And so with the pulses, if you're having dal, make it as thick as you possibly can, so you're getting more density out of that protein there. You're getting good energy from that, okay? So that's protein. Now, carbohydrates is just a cupped handful, okay? So whatever you can fit, fully cooked or prepared carbohydrates. Some examples of carbohydrates are rice, millets, beans and lentils also. Then also fruits, sweets, any kind of juices, things like that. And then also any type of bread. So that whether that's an actual loaf of bread, pieces of bread, or roti, any type of flat bread or naan, or anything like that. Okay, so you want to have the least processed form as you can, as often as you can, okay? And so that means that if it has a wrapper around it, if it's like a power bar or something like that, if it can last forever, like never expires, if it's just like chips, it's like snack foods and stuff like that, that highly processed or fried stuff is not going to be super great fuel for you. It's not going to help you feel great. It's not going to help you perform great, okay? It's not going to keep you full for very long, helping your digestion work the way that it should. So having those whole foods, fully prepared carbohydrates is going to be good for you. And so aiming for at least a couple portions per meal is going to be great for us. And so this also taking consideration is this 2 portions per meal is going to be kind of a minimum for many of you, because you're using so much energy throughout the day. Many of you will require more, but that is something that we can have a conversation with individually, finding out what is right for you, your body, your energy demands, and what helps you feel best, okay? So again, examples, any type of grains, breads, potato, fruits, sweets, those are all examples. You want the least processed form. Have as little sugar as you can to help yourself perform better. The only time you want to have those simple carbs is right before a match or in the middle of a match where you're trying to keep your fuel stores up, okay? So fats are the next thing. Fats are only the size of your thumb because there's a lot of calories in a small portion of these. This is nuts, seeds, okay? Dried fruits are not a fat. Dried fruits would be included in the carbohydrates. So nuts, seeds, and oils, cheese. So yes, even paneer is considered in this. It does have protein in it, but also is very high in fat, okay? So nuts, seeds, oils, cream, cheeses, paneer, things like that. Those are very high, dense in fat there, okay? So again, you want to be aiming for, for women, you might only need 1 to 2 portions per meal. Men, having 2. If you're running really low on energy, not feeling right, and you feel good with more fats in your diet, then you consider having 3 in a meal. But starting with that 2 and building up from there is going to be good consistency for you, okay? And so we want the highest quality oils or nuts and seeds that we get. If you can have raw nuts, that's great. Not the sugary, salty kind, not the fried foods, okay? So these really processed hydrogenated oils, these oils that you buy in big bags at the store, those ones are not going to be as good for your health long term. You want to have a little bit less processed oils going into this. And so a peanut oil can be okay, an extra virgin olive oil, or a cold pressed coconut oil. These are all great things. But getting those natural fats from your food, whether that's from your protein source or from the nuts and seeds, is going to be great, okay? So that's your portions so far. You have your protein, you have your carbohydrates, you have your fats, and now you get your micronutrients and a lot of hydration from vegetables that you eat. So stay with me here. So a size of a vegetable portion is the size of your fist, okay? So 1 fist, you want to get at least 3 fists of vegetables. That does not mean raw. It can be raw, it can be cooked, it can be a part of a curry, whatever form you had that, even if it's in a smoothie of some sort, those can be great. Okay, so any form of veggies is going to be awesome throughout the day. And so you're not necessarily putting these on your plate separately. They can be all mixed together in a curry, in a mixed dish, or you put them on your plate separately and you mix them together. It's great. Okay, we're just going through the basic portions of how you can estimate how much you're having each day. That helps us get a little bit clearer picture of what's going in, helps you understand better how to have confidence as you have to order food or have to get different food while you're traveling and when you're having food in the academy or at home. So veggies, this is anything that grows above the ground, okay? So potato and beetroot, those are more starchy veggies. It would be more considered carbohydrates, okay? But any vegetable that grows above the ground, in any color, eat the rainbow. You'll get more and more vitamins and minerals from all of these veggies. And they also have the benefit of water. There's a lot of water content in these veggies. It helps you stay hydrated and even having some electrolytes within those. Those are great for you, okay? And as far as hydration, you guys want to be aiming for a minimum of 3 liters of water per day, okay? As it gets hotter and you're sweating more, you probably want to aim for more 4 liters of water per day to make sure you're remaining hydrated. And the only time you really need to have an electrolyte drink is whenever you're continuously playing consistently for more than 60 minutes. So whether that's a weight session or a match or an on-court session, and like that first 60 minutes, if you've been hydrated going into that session, and your urine is clear whenever you're going to the washroom, then you can just be drinking water throughout that session. Once you get across 60 minutes, you want to have some type of an electrolyte drink to make sure you're staying hydrated and you don't cramp. Okay, so this is some basic nutrition for you. This is a system that we'll follow as an academy. As players, it's a good communication for us to understand. Just with these easy portion system with just your hand, you can track, you can fill out your nutrition check-in every single day on Team Builder. And especially as we travel, we can have an understanding of, okay, if I'm going to go and get some food, what do I need to have? How am I going to eat enough to meet my energy demands? And this can change day to day. If, for example, if you have an off and you're doing less activity, you might need less energy, as in less carbohydrates or fats, but you want to keep the protein and the veggies and the hydration the same. And as you're hungrier on days that you train, you eat more. As you're less hungry on days that you do not train, don't feel the need to eat a ton, okay? So we will keep talking about this and more videos to come. This is a start to get you at a point where you're beginning to understand and have confidence with nutrition.